and welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. My name is Emma and today I'm coming at you wearing a onesie. I've got myself comfortable because I'm genuinely nervous about how long filming this video is going to take. As you guys know, I've really been trying to cut down on my TBR. So now I'm going to introduce you to my new game. This is called Balancing the Books. Because what I'm going to do at the end of every month is I'm going to balance up all the books I got that month, including everything I bought and everything I got sent from publishers, and then I'm going to compare it to how many books I read that month. And those numbers have to be the same. And in order to make that happen, at the end of the month, I will give away books off my TBR to bring those numbers down to the same. I know, I've said it, I've committed, I hate it, but this is happening. Okay, welcome to episode 1 of Balancing the Books. I need a jingle. Balancing the Books. That will not be my jingle, I'll think of something else. I'm going to do this month by month, so let's start with January. First, I got Red Dragon by Thomas Harris, and this is the first book to feature Hannibal Lecter. I've never read these, but I really love the movie Silence of the Lambs, and my husband doesn't really read fiction at all. I don't know how we communicate, but he loves these books. Then I got Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera, and I have read this one and I absolutely loved it. It's about a queer Puerto Rican girl going to do an internship for a famous white feminist author, and it's all about exposing white feminism and the main character Juliet coming to terms with her own identity, and I just really enjoyed it. And finally, I bought Here We Are, Feminism for the Real World. This is an anthology edited by Kelly Jensen. It's full of essays by an incredible range of authors, really intersectional feminism. It's really pretty, it's got pictures. I just think this is fantastic. Okay, then I got sent a couple of ebooks from publishers. First, I got The Breakdown by B.A. Paris, which I did read back in January. It's a thriller about a woman who thinks she's starting to have a breakdown, she's starting to forget things. It was really engaging and creepy. And then I also got sent Final Girls by Riley Sager, which comes out in July. I haven't read that one yet. It sounds really fun though. It's about the final girls in horror movies, the ones who always make it to the end. I think that's a really fun concept, so I'm excited to read that one. And finally, the physical books that I got from publishers. I got The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's about a woman who used to be a Hollywood movie star reminiscing about her life. That sounds really good fun, and I like this green on the cover. I also got sent It Happens All the Time by Amy Hatvaney. It says that it's about consent, which I think is a really important issue to write about. And then another book about consent, I got He Said, She Said by Erin Kelly. I just read this one this month and I really enjoyed it. I did a video about it, about how I think the marketing was really insensitive. I don't like this tagline, who do you believe? I think that's all really problematic. But the book itself is really interesting. So that means that I hauled a total of 8 books in January, and looking back at my Goodreads, I can see that I read 10 books in January. So that's very good news. So I'm going to get 2 bonus credit, which I can use later. Oh my god, I'm exhausted already. Are you exhausted already? Jesus. I have a hole in my shoulder. Okay, February. I just realised I don't know how to pronounce that word. February. Welcome to Febbleberry! The books that I bought myself in February, I started with these 2 from the Hogwarts Library collection. Now I just need to get Fantastic Beasts. But it's only out in hardback at the moment. These 2 are paperback. So I'm hoping it's going to come out in paperback as well, because I like to be consistent. And then I bought History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera, which I have read and adored. I've loved both of his books I've read so far, and I just can't wait to read everything that he ever writes. Okay, ebooks from publishers. I got You Don't Know Me by Imran Mahmood, which I thought was fantastic. I've just finished it. It's a really unusual book because it's basically just one long speech from a narrator who we don't even know his name or really anything about him. He's been accused of murder, and at the end of his court case, he fires his defendant and says, "I'm now going to finally tell you the truth." And then the rest of the book is just this one long speech. And God, it's so gripping. I also got sent a book called Everything You Do Is Wrong by Amanda Coe. That one doesn't come out until October, so I haven't even looked at it yet. I don't even know what it's about. I got Let the Dead Speak by Jane Casey, which I have read. That's a crime novel. I've done a review of it. Really good fun. I'll link to all these reviews below, by the way, of everything that I have read. And then I also got an ebook of All Our Wrong Todays by Ilan Mastai. It's a time travel novel about a guy who travels back in time, accidentally changes something, and then wakes up in a dystopian world, but the dystopian world is our world. He comes from somewhere so much better. And finally, physical books from publishers. I got My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella. Her books always make me laugh. There's nothing groundbreaking, but I do just smile my way through them. It's about a girl struggling to live her perfect life in London, and the difference between her social media account and the reality of her life. You know, hashtag relatable content. Then I got The Child by Fiona Barton. I loved her last book, The Widow. This one's about a skeleton of a child that's found underneath a building, and then the secrets that churns up. And then finally I got Swimming Home by Mary Rose McCall, which is about a professional woman swimmer in 1925. I haven't read it yet, but I did send it to my dad to read, and he wrote me a little review of it, which essentially said that it was fun but not really worth reading. So maybe I won't read it, but we'll see. That brings us to a total of 10 books hauled in February, and looking at my Goodreads, I read 10 books in February. So far, books balanced. Okay, it's March, and in March I bought myself 3 books, but they were all for my dissertation, so don't get cross with me. I bought Uprooted by Naomi Novik, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which I started and DNF'd because I got bored. Then I bought A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas, also a Beauty and the Beast retelling, kind of, but then I decided that I'm not going to write about it for my dissertation, so probably not going to read it either. And then I also bought Cinder, and I've currently lent it to my dissertation supervisor so she can read it. So just imagine I've got it. It's like a sci-fi version of Cinderella, really unusual, where Cinderella is a cyborg. Oh hey, it's Shiny Faced Emma from the future, and I have some bad news. My battery died while I was filming the next clip, so that's like a big old chunk of footage that I am missing. But I do still have the audio of it. I'm just going to have to reenact it using the original audio. I'm going to fake it over the top and show you the books. It's going to be beautiful. Hang in right there. I got sent a book called The Lie of the Land by Amanda somebody. That one comes out in June, and it's about a couple who can't afford to get divorced, so they have to keep living together, I think. Did You See Melody by Sophie Hannah, which comes out in August. I have such a mixed relationship with Sophie Hannah. I really, really enjoy her books, except that I always get to the end and I'm like, seriously? That's such a bad ending. The Night the Lights Went Out by Karen White, which has one of the prettiest covers I've ever seen. Then I got The Garden of Small Beginnings by Abby Waxman. It's about a young widow learning her love for gardening. And then the best book I got sent this month, I got The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This one needs no introduction. It is so powerful. You need to read it. Then I got this book, The Dying Game by Asa Avdik. This is set in the future, and it's a group of people competing for a position in the Secret Intelligence Service of the future. One of them has to stage her own murder and then watch how everyone else reacts to the news that there might be a murderer amongst them. And then finally I got The Descent of Man by Grayson Perry. This one's about masculinity and the different definitions of masculinity and the different ways to perform masculinity. So that is another 10 books hauled in March. But here's where it gets awkward. I looked at my Goodreads and I only read 4 books in March. So some of these are gonna have to go. I do have my 2 bonus credits from earlier, so that brings me to 6. But I still have to get rid of 4 books off my TBR. I think I can pretty much jump in and say I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm unlikely to read it. So that's 1 down. I guess let's get rid of this one because I already heard it wasn't great. Okay, my battery died, but I'm back now. Sorry if the lighting or the background has changed or whatever. So I've been rifling through my big TBR shelf to find some other books to give away because I still have 2 to give away. And I found this, To Capture What We Cannot Keep by Beatrice Collin. It's a historical fiction romance. Sounds very lovely and sweet, but it's not really my genre, so I think I can get rid of this. And then my last one to give away, I've got Today Will Be Different by Maria Semple, which I have heard really good things about. A lot of people really like this one, but there's just nothing that's been drawing me to read it, and I've had this arc lying around for ages before it came out, so I don't think it's ever going to happen. So that is 4 books going to Oxfam, and my books for March are balanced. Okay, and finally, let's look at the books that I hauled in the month of April. So far, let's hope that I don't haul any more before the month is out, because this one has already been really big. I'll start with the 4 books that I bought myself. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot. It's non-fiction, and it's about a black woman whose cells were stolen by scientists without her knowledge and then used to make these really incredible breakthroughs, but her and her family never heard anything about it or never got any of the money for it. And then I also got this one, The Power by Naomi Alderman. It's about women who have the power to inflict pain from their hands, so they become kind of in charge of society, which sounds great. I also totally forgot that I had pre-ordered Hannah Witton's book, Doing It. Hannah Witton is a YouTuber who talks a lot about sex and sex education, so now she's written this book about her own experiences and the lessons that she's learned. The tagline is, "Let's talk about sex," which is pretty appropriate. And then I bought myself Geekerella by Ashley Poston. Again, this is my dissertation. I'm doing it on Cinderella retellings, which is why I've got so many lately. It's like Cinderella if she was a fangirl, hence Geekerella. Then I got sent 5 ebooks from publishers. I got Before the Fall by Noah Hawley. It's about a plane crash and the mystery surrounding it. I got How to Be Human by Paula Kokoza, which I started to read, but I did actually DNF for now. It wasn't that it was bad, I just kind of lost interest. I got When Dimple Met Rishi, which comes out later in the year. That's about an arranged marriage. It's a YA novel. It looks really fun. I got Big Little Lies. I just watched the TV show and I loved it so much. I honestly think it's one of the best TV shows I've seen in so long. So I'm really excited to read the book that it was based on. And then I got a thriller called The Marsh King's Daughter, which I requested on NetGalley, so I should remember what it's about, but I just don't. And then finally, the physical copies that I got from publishers this month. The Stars of Fire by Anita Shreve, which I just finished. This is a historical fiction set during the Great Fires of 1947 in Maine. The most random one I got was The Black Hand by Stephen Talty. This just showed up random in my house. Usually I get like at least an email saying a book's coming, but this just showed up. I don't really know why they sent it to me because I'm probably not going to read it. It's like about the mafia in America. It's turning into a movie that Leo DiCaprio is producing, I think. So I'm sure someone will love this, but it's probably not my kind of thing. I got this gorgeous looking book, Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jenny Han. This is the last book in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series, and I actually haven't read any of the other books, so I'd love to know what people think about me jumping straight into this one if I haven't read the others. Side note, I want to know where I can get this dress from because it is beautiful. And then the last book I got was Fierce Kingdom by Gin Phillips. This one comes out in July, and honestly it's one of the most intriguing premises I've heard. It's about a mother and a son who are trapped in a zoo, and the whole novel just takes place over 3 hours with them running around this zoo. From the blurb, I don't know what it is they've seen that when they tried to leave sent them running back into the zoo to hide, but I mean, what? It's so intriguing, so I can't wait to read that one. But here's the thing, that is a whopping 13 books, and so far in April I've only read 8. So I have to give away 5 books now to keep that even. So I'm going to say straight up, I'll give away The Black Hand because I probably was never going to read that. But then it gets hard. I need to go rifling through my TBR shelf again. Okay, so I think I can give away Air by Ryan Gattis. This is about a group of boys using sports as social activism. I thought it sounded interesting, but it's just not really compelling me to pick it up. I'm going to give away this memoir, 40 Autumns, which is about a family's survival on both sides of the Berlin Wall. It sounds really powerful and moving, but I don't often read memoirs, and it wasn't really calling my name. And now I don't know what to give. I don't want to give you away. You're all so precious. Okay, I've made my decisions. I'm going to give away A Spare Life by Lydia Dimkovska, which is about a pair of conjoined twins, and it spans a big chunk of their life from childhood to adulthood. Sounds wonderful though, but it's just so long. I've had it for a while and I've been avoiding it because it's so big and the writing's really small, so I guess I'm going to give it away. But April's not over yet, so I still might be able to win these back. If I can read another book before April ends, then I'll take this book off the donation pile. I'm Fighting for Your Life book, You Better Be Worth It. And the other one that I will be fighting to keep is I'm Not Your Manic Pixie Dream Girl by Gretchen McNeil, which is a YA novel about a girl who reinvents herself to be a manic pixie dream girl because she thinks that it will help her be more popular. I believe that's what it's about. So that means that my books for the whole of 2017 so far are all balanced. There have been exactly the same coming onto my TBR as going off my TBR, which is pretty good. This pile of books are getting unhauled. They will all be going to Oxfam unless I can save some of those top ones by reading. I will film my sad journey to Oxfam and put it on my Instagram story. You can follow me there, drinking.by.my.shelf. And if you made it to this video without getting bored and switching it off, then well done. I congratulate you. So do leave me a comment letting me know which of those books you've read, which ones you think I could unhaul, and which ones I should definitely hold on to. And of course, do give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for new videos every Friday. See you next time! Oh my god, so I literally just finished filming this and putting the camera stuff away, and then I had a knock on the door, and look what happened! 3 new books! Does this mean I have to get rid of another 3? Or do you think I can put these onto my May book haul? Because I've kind of missed the boat at this point. Look how pretty though! We will be returning to these in May.